Welcome to Small Business Social, everyone. We are the podcast where we celebrate makers, dreamers, and doers building big things in their communities. I'm Kara Varikis.
And I'm Steve Seymour.
And we are shining a light on small business owners and experts who inspire us all. The first episode is brought to you by Seymour Media, helping small businesses thrive with commercial photography and video, and the Bristol Bazaar, your go-to for the perfect gift or workshop. We're so grateful for their support and as we launch our new adventure. So today is our very, very first episode. We're sitting down with Virginia Brown, the creative mind and creative heart behind Beret Brush, a local gem bringing community and creativity to Connecticut. So welcome to our first ever episode. I'm so excited. Number one. So as we are going to dive into all the things about you and your small business and the things you've created, tell us about yourself, of course, and why you started Beret Brush.
So about myself, I'm a crazy, quirky cat lover dork.
Good start.
Yes. Sit still. If you need like one sentence, and actually more like a paragraph. But yeah, so I am a creative Of course, I'm a creative entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Jeez, goodness. Question was, why do I do this? Because I like making pretty things. I like seeing pretty things, and then I'm like, ooh, I wonder if I can make that too.
That's really cool. So tell us, I know you brought some work with you, and I'm sure everyone that's watching is going to want to know. If you guys are just listening, then you should watch the video version so you could see what we're talking about. So go ahead, explain what's there, how you did it. It's amazing what you do.
Yeah, it looks pretty sexy, obviously.
Right?
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
So what this is a painting that I did live at a wedding.
Wow.
And I did their first dance at the wedding, and then they posted their pictures on social media. And then I'm like, oh, they had this like beautiful, this very sexy scene in the elevator at Hartford Town Hall. And I'm like, I got to do it.
Oh, that's in an elevator?
That's an elevator.
Oh, can you hold that up to the camera? Just, take it out there. I wanted to see that.
So
There we go.
yeah,
your
so
microphone's
the
in the
idea-
way. That's why. Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah,
Perfect.
that's
Look at that.
perfect.
Look at that. Look at that.
So,
That's amazing.
yes. And I love the intimacy of it. And that's the great thing about paintings is they can be whatever you want. They can be nice and candid, or they can be super sexy. And it really gave me a chance to push the boundaries of my portraiture. And so now it is my bring everywhere to prove that I am an artist and I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. And you do a whole bunch of different things. So could you tell everybody, I know we've networked together, I feel like for the last couple of years now.
You have? And I didn't know this?
Yeah.
Oh,
She
okay.
knows cool people you don't. And you know cool people she doesn't.
That's
But
right.
yes.
So you've hosted many classes with us at the Bristol Bazaar, but can you tell us more and the listeners more about what you do other than classes? You do weddings, you do pets.
So
all the things.
How do you do the pets?
Oh,
that's got
goodness.
to be tough.
Yeah.
Seriously.
So the first question, okay. So question number one, she asked me what I do. So I specialize in live wedding painting. So I will go to people's weddings and with a blank canvas and paint the bride and groom on the spot in the moment. It's a lot of fun. It's a big adrenaline rush. Or I also do the guest portraits, which are these really simple, elegant. The best way to describe them if you haven't seen them are like caricature artists, but they're not like the goofy exaggerations of people.
Right.
They're really I choose to do it in watercolor. Some artists will do it in with Copic markers.
Oh, wow.
And so, but they're you're trying to get through as many guests as possible. So it's very much like a rat race of okay, get grandma, grandpa done. Okay, cousins done. I also host paint and sips. I partner with local businesses to host these paint and sips. I provide the paint, they provide the sip and the space. So it's a great
Good idea.
opportunity
Yeah.
to collaborate where they have the overhead.
And everyone's tipsy.
And they're tipsy.
Yeah.
But again, the great thing about paint and sips is these are not formal art classes. These are very much meant for the everyday person who can't draw a stick figure.
Oh, it makes it more enjoyable too.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
there's no pressure or anything like that. Yeah.
Well, people still come with pressure, and
Yes.
it's strange.
Really?
And so, yeah. And then the way that I get rid of it, I was like,
Is
that's
the
okay.
alcohol.
That's not. No, you'd be surprised that even if they are done at breweries, people don't really get drunk. They're having fun. They're relaxing.
Right.
And the whole point of it is I'm leading through it step by step. So I make sure that with each of these classes that it is okay, we're doing one step at a time. If you want to go ahead, move forward, you can. But I'm there to make sure that you feel supported, that I know you're not a professional artist, and that's fine. I want to help you create something that's beyond your expectations. So to kind of get rid of that whole scariness in the beginning of the class, I'll say, guys, I'm teaching this. You can paint a purple dinosaur for all I care. As long as there's enough purple in the basket, go for it. And then if you want to, I've even got glitter paint. I've got metallics. I've got glow in the dark paint.
That's cool.
I think once I open up that option to people are like, okay, even if they do the painting step by step, they're like, okay, cool. I can relax. This is fun. Then, okay, so we got the paint and sips. We got murals. So I also do murals, mostly indoor. I haven't quite gotten on a scaffold yet.
Do you get commissioned for murals?
I do.
You do. Okay.
So, yeah. So actually, I'm thinking of, I'm working on a couple different projects at the moment with murals. And then you asked about the pets. So then during the week, I work at a cat cafe over in Glastonbury. It's called Marcy's Angels Cat Cafe. So you can go in, grab coffee, sit at the bar, get some work done, watch some kitties, or you can actually go in and hang out with some kitties, and they're all adoptable. Or if you're just like, I'm lonely, or my cat passed and I'm not ready to get another one yet, but I need a kitty fix. It's a great place to like socialize, with the cats. So people come in and I've got a little corner where they'll text me a picture of their pet, and then I can draw it, paint it. Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say, how do you keep them still? Are you one of those artists where I love these, where they're drawing or painting and you can't tell what the hell it is until towards the end? You know what I mean? Like, where are they going with this? Oh, I see. And then it all comes together. You know what I'm saying?
Every wedding, there's a drunk Uncle Joe at cocktail hour, and I'm just painting the underpainting, and I'm sketching out where things are going. And they'll say, it looks like crap. And I'll be like, I know. Like,
the thing is, I'll look at something. I'm like, what is that? And I'm like, and then it starts coming together, and then you're like, wow, that's awesome. You know what I mean?
And that's very much the appeal of doing it at weddings, is because people underestimate me at cocktail hour. They have no idea of like how this is going to be good. The only people who know that are good are the bride and groom who hired me, or whoever hired me. Sometimes I'm a gift to the bride and groom and they don't even know who I am or what
really
I'm doing there.
Oh, I love that.
I would have never thought of that. Yeah.
Right? Because people move in and they live together before they're married. So they don't need pots and pans. They want something really unique.
Yes.
And this becomes that like
more personal and
I mean, did your
memorable on top
grandma
of
have
that.
like something in her house that you're just like, yes, that is like a staple in grandma's house, like a clock or something? This painting will be
the candy
that.
dish.
Yes,
the butterscotch candy dish.
Cookie jar.
Yes. Jelly beans.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Well, I ate them one time, and then it was Florida, and I ate them on a white rug, and it made the center of. I put a pillow over it.
And that's how art started. And that's how your art career started.
That'll be my new medium: is melted jelly beans.
Ooh. The eatable
Somebody's
art.
Done that.
Edible art.
Somebody has probably done it.
Probably,
so,
yeah. Probably.
So do you find when you're doing these weddings and different events, I mean, it could be makers markets, it could be weddings at the Cat Cafe. Are you finding that people are finding you, or people who have worked with you at these places are now referring you, or like people are finding you through these experiences?
I think so, because it's definitely one of those things that I am just much about art as I am about community. Like community is also kind of like the side job, like that I don't get paid for, but I love it because I very much have been inspired by other artists that, okay, there are artists out there who make a living doing this. And it's not necessarily that you have to be hyper realistic to be an artist, to be
correct,
make a living. You just have to be bold and consistent and keep pushing and willing to surround yourself with other entrepreneurs and put yourself in the room where there's other people who have had this experience, who have been through the rough times. Because as an entrepreneur, there are high highs and low lows.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that's what we want to know about today in your field, honestly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that because I've gotten around more entrepreneurs, that when I have those low lows, they experience that too. Even if they're a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years in business, that, okay, they've gone through it and survived it, I will too.
Right. And you're surrounded with community.
Yes.
So you can always, like the last networking event I went to with you, we were sitting there talking and I was talking about some things and I got great feedback in that room. Stuff that, I had been talking about with my husband, or I've been talking about with close friends and family for months and months, but to talk to a room of people who understand and who live it the way that we do, it's totally different. It is totally different. And I know you're heavy and big into the networking scene. Are there any groups or anything to those listeners who are listening in from Connecticut that you could recommend them looking into or, visiting that you've had success with?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, to be a little vain, I do run the Rising Tide Hartford chapter, and that's specifically for creative entrepreneurs. So if you're a photographer, if you're a chef, we've had a couple of party planners. So it's anything that's like, I guess, yeah, as long as you're like, and not to push away real estate or insurance people, but there are plenty of networking places for that.
Right.
When you're a creative entrepreneur, you're writing your own job description and you're figuring out what that job description is as you go.
Yep.
So you really need a community of like, I'm faking it till I make it, but I don't say that anymore.
No.
Because that's how you get imposter syndrome. No, you just try. You keep trying and you keep throwing things out there. You keep listening, tweaking, growing. So
Constantly educating yourself
yeah.
on top of that. That's what I do anyways, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And as a creative entrepreneur, most of the time, I've even gone to real estate networking events
Yeah.
just to partner with other small businesses and see what they're like in the area,
Right.
whether it's a chamber of commerce. There's a lot of different wedding groups that I, am involved in. And now that, I work at a cat cafe sometimes during the week, I'm looking
Is
for...
that what that smell is? No. I'm just kidding.
No, we are very clean there. We are super clean. Nobody would know there's cats in that room.
Just playing with you.
No, it's sweat because it's July 3rd and it's 95 degrees out.
Yeah.
Hot. Too hot for New England. But yeah.
I think it's such a big thing to touch on as a creative entrepreneur. I was just talking about this with someone the other day. We were doing a small business coaching course or session, I should say. And I was telling this person, have you looked into your local chamber? And they're like, oh, well, I don't belong because it's realtors, it's bankers, insurance folks. And I was like, let me tell you. And I think it was a woman. So I was like, girlfriend. I was like, girlfriend, if you step foot in this room with your creative product, everyone will love you. You are this amazing creative breath of fresh air. There's so much of everything else going on. So I don't know. I mean, I've felt it when I was going into, and I still, when I go into like our local chambers and beyond, I've joined a couple others since then. But you're kind of like this great awkward like thing that everyone loves and wants to learn more about. Like I used to walk into rooms with cutting boards in my bag. So do you feel that way when you've kind of gone to those other types of networking groups, or have you not experienced that?
I mean, no one's ever turned me down. Like no one's been like, sorry, we're an insurance company. Don't come to our networking group. Because if anything, you're really interesting. Because as a creative entrepreneur, you're somehow using life to inspire some kind of product or some kind of beauty. And everybody lives. Everybody you're going to the networking event has a life outside of that work. And it's all about storytelling, or what has your experience been? What has your life been? And how can we come up with a creative way that maybe like we can, highlight that or celebrate that.
Right.
So even if they have no clue about art, well, hey, like they had a really special childhood dog that they have a picture of, and a painting would just be a wonderful way to celebrate that. Yeah. Or, oh, I would have loved you 20 years ago when I got married. I'm like, well, as long as you've got your photo album, send me the pictures.
Yeah, that's a good way to do
I
it
can
too.
paint
So
from
it's
pictures.
basically coming in the back door.
Yeah.
Right.
In a way, you know what I mean?
I mean,
That's how I did
people
it.
are great because they love to chat, and they're all about creating. They're literally selling community. They're literally saying, if you move to this house, these are all the cool amenities and attractions that you have in your area,
Right?
And how you can make it a part of your life. So yeah, I network with anybody and everybody I can.
That's awesome.
That's a good way to do it. That's because I'm a professional photographer, and I started doing real estate photography because I was selling my house. So, and the realtor, she was like, we take our own pictures. I'm like, well, I wasn't a professional at the time. It was a fake it till you make it type thing. And she goes, why don't you? And then she saw it. She's like, wow, why don't you do this for a living? I'm like, what am I gonna do? How much can I make from this? Because I got a family to support. And next thing you know, I made like $5,000 the first year.
Like, sounds right.
But me, with my attitude, I kept sticking to it. Now I can turn away customers and not have to even blink twice. You know what I mean? So it paid off, but it took a long time. So how long did it take you? And
I mean, I'm still doing it.
no, I know, but I mean, are you
No, but that's
struggling
what I
as
mean.
bad as when you first started, or you at the point where you're comfortable and you could say, hey, I'm making a living and they're comfortable at it and not worrying about it.
So it depends on the season. There ebbs and flows.
So it's
like
it's seasonal for you too?
Yeah. I mean, last month I had a couple of like a week where I had $200 in my bank account.
Yeah.
And I'm like stressing and I'm looking for the next job. So that's the thing is that I've also learned with entrepreneurship by surrounding yourself with other people is that, I used to live, in my 20s trying to find the job. I was very much paycheck to paycheck, like counting every dollar multiple times, having just like $50 in my bank account. And I still get that today. Now, part of that's I need to be wiser and a better steward with my finances.
Okay.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, what is coming in the
Now,
works?
is that a
What are we
personal
working
thing
on?
when you say you have to be with your finances? You have to be more.
I mean, anytime you deal with money is trying to figure out how do I spend it and where am I putting the risk to reward gain?
Right.
Because I think also it's easy to be like, my big place that I spend a lot of money is Michael's. And, I really like this paint. It's a business write-off. Okay, sure.
Right.
And it's like, do I really though? Have I checked to see if I don't already have that color in like maybe already 3 other tubes of that color?
I have
Yes.
the same thing.
And
Cameras.
so there's, whether it's personal finances or even business, because that's the other hat that you have to wear.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I wanted to be an artist, but you also have to be your own financial coach. And you always you do have to look at what you're tracking and what you're spending. And, okay, where's the risk? Where's the gain? Is it worth, buying, I need canvases. I have a paint and sip tonight. Or can I hold off on, okay, maybe I need to save up for business cards because I want to support this small business versus maybe going on like Zillow or,
Right.
Vistaprint or something like
Yeah.
that. So, and that's the thing is I don't think that maybe they do. But I don't know if I haven't gotten to a level where I'm like, I can coast.
Right.
And I don't think I've met another creative
Sometimes,
entrepreneur
well,
where you can
sometimes
just
that's
coast.
it's
Yeah.
detrimental also because if you flatline and you just get stuck and everything and all your competition starts surpassing you. You know what I mean? So that's the way I see it.
Yeah, I would say even on the Dusty Dude side, when we started, we took every job, anything. If someone was like, "I want one coaster," I was like, "Yup, you bet it,
You
done."
got it. Yep.
Because we knew that we needed to do what we had to do. But I also had very similar you're saying about paint, except mine were really nice live edge pieces of like unique wood. So Eric would be like, "Do we really need that? Are you sure?" And I was like, "Are we gonna find it again? Like, look at the grain, look at this, look
He
at that."
told me you were like that too.
Yeah. A lot of them are still sitting in our shop. So I echo what you're saying 150%. And even things with the bazaar, Eric and I will go around. We spend a tremendous amount of money on all the theming and decorations. And we try to repurpose them as much as we possibly can, but it's hard. Your heart gets invested and then that kind of, overrides sometimes that analytical financial part. And the excitement becomes really real, but sometimes those two components can really like throw you ahead of your competition. Sometimes you go flatline and sometimes it could really launch you.
Right, exactly.
Which is really cool. I think that's a really unique part about being an entrepreneur in general is that you are your own boss, which is everyone's dream, so to say.
Until they get into
until
it.
they understand all the things that come with it. But I still wouldn't change it for anything. I don't know would you change it for anything?
No. Because even if it's like, I have a friend who's like, hey, I'm having a really rough week. Can we meet for coffee? Absolutely. I have the freedom to make my schedule.
Right.
And maybe, okay, fine. Maybe instead of like stopping work at 6 or, I'll take a break and then maybe I'll go back to it at like 10 p.m. or something like that, depending on how my brain turns on. So it's a blessing. It's a pro and a con, but I love it because for me personally, like I had jobs in my 20s where it was like every day looked the same. I could already live the week out before I did. And I would just like, no.
Right.
So
right.
being a creative entrepreneur, every day looks differently. You don't know who you're going to meet. You don't know with that meeting what story is going to be told, how you're going to be inspired. Where's this project going to go? What are we going to then create? So, yeah. So, no, I would not change it. Like I had somebody very much in the beginning, ask me like, how dedicated are you to this? Like 1 being like, no. 10 being like, I will give everything I have to make this work. And I told him an 11 because I had spent my 20s going from entry-level job to entry-level job, trying to find the career, trying to find my fit. Sure. And I never found like places that were either long-term stable or that I was happy. And I am happy doing this. I love the impact that it makes and how it ripples just from me taking a fuzzy stick with some liquid on it and somehow getting a painting.
Yeah.
That just like it means something beyond words.
Can you tell us a little bit about that aha moment when you went from those corporate jobs, those 9 to 5s and stuff like that, that really changed everything? Because I feel like every entrepreneur
I was literally
has
just
that
going to ask
moment.
that same question.
And I feel like it's really important to share because there are so many people who are out there who hopefully are listening to this, and we can help inspire them to let them know that, everyone has these moments that, takes this course essentially. So I would love to hear if you're willing to share kind
Yeah.
of that experience.
Well, if I didn't want to share, I shouldn't have gotten on a podcast. But I don't know if it was one aha or several ahas because, like, again, after college, my college plan didn't go to plan. So I was back in Connecticut, dirt poor, like ramen noodle style. And I think I'm like, someone's wedding was coming up and I'm like, I can't afford anything on their registry, but I still want to show them that I love them and I care. So I think like my first painting was, I think they went to school and their school mascot, thank you, mascot was like an owl and they had met at college. So I did like an owl painting.
Oh, wow.
So I literally, and I started from like nothing where it was like, okay, go to Ocean State Job Lot, pick a canvas, pick some like 50-cent paint. Like I think I traced it at the time. Like I really wasn't an artist in the beginning. And then just did the best that I could. And they really loved it. They cried. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
I might have something here.
I might have something.
Yeah.
So then it was something, I still stayed poor, which meant that I still did art gifts, but it had such an impact. They loved it. Like a lot of people still have some of that stuff in their house today. And I'm like, oh, it's so bad. Oh, no. But that's only because it was the beginning.
I think everyone looks at their
Yeah.
old stuff and
I'm trying to
see
give
the
myself
progression.
grace
Yeah.
for that
When,
stuff. Because
I mean,
loved
how
it.
scary was it and when did you start to say, hey, I'm going to just do this full time?
To this, oh my goodness.
And
So-
how scary was it? And did you have someone to lean on just in case it didn't work out?
Yes and no. So,
Because a lot of people get stuck in that.
They do get stuck. And I think it was, so I got married in February, like 2 weeks before COVID. And so we moved the wedding party until like November of 2021. So at that time, in the months like before my wedding and just like 2 months after, so about 4-month period, I was working with a photographer as his assistant. Basically like, hold this, grab this, go get this. But he would also take my creative direction. I'm like, what if we do this with her dress? What if we put them here? What if we do this? And he took that, and that was my taste to entrepreneurship. I got married. And then we went on like a 1.5 month long honeymoon because it was a road trip around the United States.
Amazing.
It was great. I realized that it's like, okay, I actually do love Connecticut. Like as great as that was, I'm like, yeah, Connecticut's the right place for us. A week before we got back, I got laid off. He's like, I cannot, make the numbers work. I'm not getting the inquiries that I need to be able to afford you as an assistant. And I'm like, crap. Like I really fell in love with this. And so I went back to the 9 to 5, Indeed, Craigslist, looking for a job. And I'm like, I can't do this. I can't. And so I had seen just by doom scrolling, someone do live wedding painting in like 2020. And they were amazing. They are amazing. They can do like a 30-inch by 40-inch canvas in a couple hours and be done. And I'm like, what if I tried that? What if I it won't be that level, but she's charging $5 to $10 grand. What if I just put a thing out on Facebook and said, hey, will anybody give me like $100 or $200 to try this at their wedding?
Sure.
And I got like 18 replies back.
Wow.
So I'm a little bit more expensive then, but than I was
You gotta
then.
start
But
somewhere,
I gotta
right?
start somewhere because I had no clue what I was doing at all. But it's very much, I've learned the process. I've learned the setup, networking with other live painters. Hey, how do you do this? Or what is your perspective on that? And, but yeah, no, it was extremely scary. My husband is a brilliant software engineer. He's very smart, very analytical, but he also this needs to match up with the numbers. This needs to make sense. And I had no clue what I was doing.
Right.
So we're still working on that. But it's always growing and it's very different every year. And so how my slow seasons look, like even when I have $200 in my account. That looks very different from when it was like in the first year or the second year.
Right.
So as long as you're still growing,
Progressing.
keep pushing,
Yeah.
because the highs are high and they're worth it.
Yes.
And the lows, you will survive them. You will survive them. If you have to get a part-time job to make it work, do it. But you chose to go out on a limb because you love this.
So basically, you're saying still keep your vision.
Yeah.
And get another job if you have to continue that vision.
There's no shame in getting another
That's
job
exactly
and
what I
making
did.
it work.
I just told my daughter to do that today.
Yeah.
So.
Like, there's no shame in having to work a 9 to 5. Most of the country does. But when you're doing something that you're like passionate about and you make those connections, like the ripple effect of, even if it's like making goat soap,
Right.
like you don't know the ripple effect of what that just a bar of soap is to other people, and just the conversation that they had with you and the connection that they had. And the community that maybe there's a big goat community out there.
Yeah, sometimes you fall into stuff that you would never think that you would be doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
No,
I could totally understand that.
And that's the thing is, like, I never understood, like, I heard in the first year niche down, and I never understood until I went on to like another podcast where they're like, no, the more you kind of define yourself and what your passions are, and you find a bigger community in that.
Right. Right.
And so,
I think I have to say, I think it's so smart how you, as you were figuring things out, how you chose to network so specifically with people who were in your niche, who could help you be successful.
Is that what it looks like?
I think that's phenomenal, because I could tell you, Eric and I did not do that. We failed forward a million times, tried to figure it out. We're still figuring it out like everyone else. But I just kudos to you for doing that, truthfully, because that takes a lot of courage and a lot of time. And I think it really probably helped you a lot more than you had anticipated it to.
Yes. No, I would say that definitely. So I used to be on the ski patrol at Ski Sundown.
What?
And I did that for like 20 years.
That's amazing. I
20
didn't even know
years?
that
Wow.
about
Yes.
you. That's so cool.
No, it was an amazing adventure. And I think the biggest thing that I took away from it is that, these are for people who don't know what ski patrol is you're an EMT, you're a medical provider when someone gets hurt on the mountain. And I did that at 15.
Wow.
So what it taught me was, okay, crap, someone's got a broken leg and they're screaming. Take a breath, crap, do the training, and just jump into it, because you have to help them. You have to do this. And even though I'm not in a life or death situation as a business entrepreneur, it's very much taught me, okay, this is scary. Crap, this is scary. Do it anyways. It's not going to kill you.
Right.
You're going
Right.
to learn something. You're going to be pushed outside your comfort zone. And that's where the coolest jobs are and the coolest adventures are.
Yeah.
Is outside your comfort zone.
Oh, absolutely. That's the biggest reward also. Now, does it help you a little bit knowing that you do have a partner to fall back on, or?
It is a blessing. I think that I would still be doing this even if it weren't for him, but it would take me a lot longer.
Right.
It
So
would take me a
it does
lot
make
longer.
it easier.
It
having
does make
some-
it easier.
Not financially. I mean, just like emotionally and all that stuff to back you up.
Yes. But I'm not, but at least in my relationship, he isn't involved in my business.
Right.
That he is, my support, my rock, my husband,
Right.
because we're building a life together. But it's not, hey, I overspent, on this trip. Now it's your problem.
Oh yeah. No,
Like,
no, no,
it's
no.
very much this business. I didn't want it to be a burden.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I just meant like
And so-
emotional support.
Yes and no, because the thing is, again, he's a software engineer, so he's very logistically minded.
So
we are polar
my son's an
opposites.
engineer, so
Yes.
he's very analytical and stuff.
Yes, where I'm very much, let's just try it.
Yeah,
Let's just
exactly.
go off
Like
of it.
I have
And
to
so-
build something. He's like, all right, let me go check out the instructions. And guys I don't even know sticking instructions. You know what I mean? So
No, he's definitely the yang to my yang, and
That's
he has
good.
helped me build like a financial system to be like, okay, you did spend a lot on X, Y, Z, not to criticize me, but to help me learn how to spend money. Like that's the thing that we like. Somehow we assume, like, even as teenagers, we should not, we should just spend money, but it's really a learned like talent,
Right,
to
it
know
is.
how to analyze, okay, am I spending emotionally? Is this a wise choice? Is this just because I want to? And so, okay, where can I, so that's where he is, a blessing and an
he
asset
keeps
to
you
my
in check
business.
and opens up your eyes a little bit. Is that what you're saying? Basically,
Yeah, he's helping. Yeah, he's helping me, like encouraging me with the business. But it's like, okay, where are you being frugal, and where is it actually slowing you down versus building you up?
Which makes total sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one of the big topics that Steve and I are actually going to talk about, I think it's going to be later this month on the show, is entrepreneurial burnout.
Yes.
What a topic, right? Like it is so
How many
very
episodes
real.
do you have for that?
I don't even want to be here right now.
So can you tell us a little bit, if you've experienced it, has your husband helped you? Do you find networking helps you? Just kind of, I want to just share with people a little bit more, about what that feels like. And it can feel like a lot of things to different people. So if you
Oh
like
yeah.
to talk about it, I would love to hear
literally,
it.
like, so. Sadly, my father-in-law passed away a month or so ago, which meant that
Sorry.
we were. Thank you. It was unexpected, which meant that I either have to refund 3 major jobs or accrue debt because I'm having to fly back and forth. So it's like, okay, either refund the jobs, which is going to be like 8,000 or 9,000, which I don't have.
Right.
So, or, spend, $1,500 on flights back and forth to Florida.
Sure.
And in that time, also, I'm not presently here in Connecticut to network. So I'm doing the best I can remotely to network, while also networking with some of the artists that I actually met in Florida.
That's a
That's-
great opportunity for.
Yes. So it was extremely scary, and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm incurring debt, and this is having to go on the credit card, and he's dealing with that, and I'm dealing with how can I keep my stuff together over here so he doesn't have to worry about it, but
Right.
it's almost falling apart. So it does, like, as a creative entrepreneur, when you reach burnout or where you're just like, where's the next job coming? It feels like the world's coming to an end.
Yes,
Yeah.
it
And
does.
Yeah.
you need to have community. I've got faith, I've got community, I've got people who are like, this is not as bad as it seems. You have been here before. If you overdraft on your bank account, it's fine. Okay, your house isn't going to disappear tomorrow. It
Right.
definitely is alarming, but we are here. Reach out to us. Where can we find a next job? If anything, that's where you tell your community, I'm struggling. Where can I,
And a lot of times, the community will help you out.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, I've got people like the way that this grief has manifested in me is that I can't seem to focus, and my house has become extremely cluttered. And so I literally have community who are helping me tomorrow, where some people are going to help me with the lawn. Some people are going to help me
Wow.
with the kitchen. And it's just like, part of me feels guilty, but it's like, no, with the roles are switched, this is how people help, like, show up and be community. when
Basically,
someone's
you would be doing
grieving.
the same thing for
Yes,
them.
I have done it, and I've been there, and I've told those people, you're silly. We're here to help. We love you. If we can make a difference while you're
Right.
going through this, we want to.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So-
amazing. That gave me chills. Literally,
Yeah.
as you're talking about it, I think that's phenomenal. And I appreciate you sharing that so much because, like you said, burnout for everybody is so different. And that is such a unique experience. And considering what you're trying to balance, professionally, personally, I don't even
And that
know.
line's really hard to draw when you're your own business based off of your passion.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So, yes. So it's been, a roller coaster. I've had really bad days. I've had really good days. But again, we're pushing through it. And, to act like grief doesn't affect you is foolish. And again, that's the other thing that I've found within community and entrepreneurship is no one's looking for someone who has all their stuff together.
Right.
Because it's not real.
yeah.
Right.
So the more you're like, I'm struggling with XYZ, the more people are like, oh, you're safe to be around. You're someone who's going to be there. You're somebody who will help me. And I feel like it's worth investing myself to help you.
Right.
So,
All right. So if you had to say one thing to our listeners before we wrap it up, what would that be?
one thing.
One thing that would probably what piece of advice would you
Yeah.
give them?
What scares you and go after it. Like if it scares you, you're built for it. You've got the tools to overcome it. Just try it.
Okay. So
And-
basically, you have to have the stomach for it too,
Yeah.
and just take the leap.
Life is boring in the comfort zone.
Right.
You're right.
You got to keep
Yeah.
pushing your comfort zone.
She pushes me.
And can you tell our listeners where they can find you, whether it be social media, your next events, like any and all the things so that they can reach out?
So, yes. So, again, my name is Virginia Brown of Beret and Brush. If you see a tall white girl with brown hair with a beret. That's me. And usually during the week, I'm over at the Cat Cafe in Glastonbury, but you can find me on social media at Beret Brush and also at beretandbrush.com.
Perfect. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into Small Business Social. A huge thank you to you, Virginia, for coming on and sharing all of these amazing things. I literally get chills just listening to everything. So thank you so much. And a special thanks to our sponsors, the Bristol Bazaar and Seymour Media, for supporting small businesses. If you loved today's episode, be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We've got more amazing small business owners and experts coming your way. Until next time, keep supporting small and spreading big ideas. Bye.